Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and this is the December 2013 PracticeMaster Virtual User Group meeting, where we are going to talk about all that happened in the world of STI in 2013. And before we do that, I have a little bit of housekeeping. I want to click here and press this button and show you this. This is the GoToWebinar control panel. Many of you that have been here for these sessions understand how this works, but for those of you who are new, you can get this out of the way, this big part, by clicking this button that looks like arrows pointing to the right. That will cause this to slide off your screen, and then the only thing you'll be able to see is this row of buttons. You would do that if this is covering up my screen, because you're going to want to pay close attention and see everything that's going on. And so therefore, you want to know how to get this out of the way. Now, if you want to slide it back into focus, this button, once it's pressed, will then turn into a button with arrows pointing to the left, because that's also how you bring it back. And when you bring it back, you have this place where you can type a question. Be sure to hit send. And when you type a question there and hit send, our humble moderator, Leanne, will recognize that you have a question, wait for the opportune moment, interrupt me or Mary Jo, and then ask your question or questions on your behalf. And I say or questions because if we don't fully answer your initial question, please keep typing your follow-up questions here, remembering, of course, to hit send, and Leanne will continue to ask them until we've gotten every bit of your question answered. We want to make sure we answer the whole thing. Now, if you're not feeling shy, you can also press this button here that looks like a hand with an arrow pointing upward in front of it. That means raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, Leanne will also notice that you have raised your hand. She will also interrupt me or Mary Jo at the opportune time, but this time what she'll do is she'll unmute you and let you ask your own damn question. So if you want to ask your question yourself, raise your hand by pressing this button right here. If instead you want to type a question, just come here and do it, and remember to hit send. So without any further ado, let's talk about what we're talking about, which is what happened in STI's world in 2013. I believe we flipped a coin, and I don't know if Mary Jo lost or won, but she's going first. So Mary Jo, you want to start us out?
I will start you out. Okay, so one of the questions that I have had, and that Paul and I both had, I guess, is Microsoft Office 2013 supported by STI products? And the answer is yes. And some of you may have had Office 2013 installed, I don't know, maybe a few months ago, and you had a little glitch or didn't quite work how you expected. Well, STI's looked at that, and they have fixed all those little glitches, and Microsoft Office is now fully integrated with our software. So 2013 is supported, and it is functional. So if you tried it before, you might want to try it again, because now download the latest release of our software, and that should have fixed any glitches that you may have had. The other thing that I'm going to talk about is version 17 beta support. Some of you are beta testers, so you may have version 17 already installed and been able to use it for the last couple months. And there is actually a special support line for beta testers at STI. So when you call in, you actually could ask for the beta queue, and you could get a little higher escalated support level to answer those questions. And those people deal directly with the developers and things, and if you had questions or issues, they would take those to the developers, and that's what beta is all about. And so that's why there was a special queue. Well, now that version 17 is hopefully in the very near future going to be released, and Paul will talk about that in a little bit, the beta support line is no longer there. So what does that mean? Does not mean that you do not have support. It just means that you'll go through the regular support lines just like you did before. So if you have a version 17 beta question, just go in and pick the PracticeMaster tabs queue, whichever one that you needed to do, and you will get your questions answered that way. And I have two things that I get asked about quite a bit, so I wanted to share those. One is the biggest question that I always get is how to reset a user. What does that mean when I get this duplicate user message? And that's probably a lot of the support calls that I help because people don't understand why they get it and what's going on. So the first thing, why it happens. If you lose power, you have a storm or somebody hits the telephone pole out front and you are all in PracticeMaster in your office and all of a sudden it just goes out, just like with any other program, you're disconnected all of a sudden. So it's like crashing your software. And when you sign back in, it's going to think that you're still in there because it left off where you were still there. And that is one reason why you would reset the user. Another thing, you could disconnect from the server. You might lose that connection from the server, whether it's for a few seconds, a few minutes, all night. You know what, something happened on the server and you lost your connection. Those are some of the reasons that you would get this message when you come back in. Somebody didn't log out properly at the end of the day, and something like that happened. So they come back in, they go to log in, and they get this message that pops up, duplicate users are found, do you want to reset the user? Well, that kind of scares people, and they just say, no, I don't want to reset anything. And they go in, and that message continues to pop until you actually go in and reset the user. Now, I don't recommend that we have users just willy-nilly going out and resetting themselves because there can be consequences for that. If they were in a file, like a fee file or a calendar file record, when this outage occurred, that particular record might still think that it's open on the server. And if you just go in and reset them, that could have a problem later. You might not be able to add fees to that particular matter. It might give you a message and it just won't let you do it. Easy to fix, but it's just something that can happen. So I would recommend if they get that message, maybe they refer to their office manager or somebody that is going to be in charge of doing the resetting. And it's very easy. Once you're in there, Paul has a screen up on the computer now that lists all the users that are in our software right now. Now, Paul is in, and I am in, and Paul has asterisks in front of him because we're signed on to his screen, and that is his live connection right now. Anything with an asterisk is what he's logged in right now. Now, if he logged in and he had gotten that duplicate user message and said, no, don't reset, and he came to this screen, he would see all of his logins. You know, these are all the programs or screens that he is in. He's in the detail view. If he clicks the summary view, you'll just see which programs he's in. It kind of condenses that down. So I know he's only in PracticeMaster right now. He's in lots of windows in PracticeMaster, but he's only in PracticeMaster. But if I came in here and I saw that he had another instance without an asterisk, there might be P.Purdue with no asterisk, that's the user that's the duplicate. That's the locked user. So when I come in and I say, yes, reset this user, and I want to, it'll bring up this screen, and I have to choose, well, which user do I want to reset? The biggest confusion is, well, there's two of them in there. How do I know? Well, it's always the one without the asterisk. So you highlight that one, and then you say reset, and it takes you to this window here that always scares everybody to death, the 3 boxes that you have to check before you can reset the user. And this is just trying to reiterate how important this is to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row before you reset a user. You want to verify that that user is actually not in the software. We don't want to reset a user just because they went to lunch or they went to court or they left the office and forgot to sign out. We want to actually go to their computer and make sure that they are not in the software. If they're not, the computer's off, they are not in, they are definitely need to be reset, they're locked in, then we can check that box. The second one, have you attempted to close the program on that computer? And so that's, I guess that is going over there and making sure that they are, if they were in, you would just close them out. Instead of, you know, maybe their computer is on and they are logged into the software, you just log them out. And so that will clear that. And you understand that the consequences of resetting the user, like I said, we don't want to just start resetting users because if they were in an open file, that can cause problems later on. So once you've verified these 3 things, you check the 3 boxes and you say okay, or reset now, and that will reset that user in the system. So it's an easy thing, but yeah, it's a little scary, and you want to make sure that you understand what you're doing before you start to just go in and reset. Some people just say, oh, you know, there's people in there and I have to kick them out, so we're just going to reset them. Well, again, that can cause problems. So we don't want to just do that. We want to make sure that we're careful. But resetting users is probably one of the biggest questions that I get all year long, so I wanted to just kind of visit that. Are there any questions on that, Leanne?
You caught her. She's snoozing.
I was going to say, are you there, Leanne? Are you sleeping?
Yes, I am here. I'm not sleeping. I'm sorry, there are no questions. I couldn't find my unmute button.
I know that we probably bore you to death with this, but hey. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about that I don't know exactly when it came out, but I don't believe that Paul and I have talked about it. So I'm going to talk about the How Related tab in PracticeMaster. Many of you who are customers and have been for a while and want to manage your contacts easily probably have spoken with Paul and I, and we probably have installed what we call our people file. It's a tab that we put in. It goes under all the clients, no matter what area of practice they are in, and it is a place that you can add contacts just on the fly. If you have a referred by attorney or a medical provider or a judge or an opposing counsel, any of these things that you want to just add to a particular matter, you can go over to our People tab, and it also has other information in there. We've developed a kind of, it's a pretty extensive screen that on some of our clients, because they do different areas of practice and need to store different information. But you can do multiples, and you come and choose a contact. You can say how they're associated to the case, what's their relationship, are they, an attorney, are they a medical provider, a court, what's their role, and then you can add the information on that screen, and it pulls in from the contact file. They're all contacts, so they're accessible. You can add multiple witnesses or referred by attorneys, so this kind of frees up having to go through lots of different screens to add people to a case. Some people have renamed it to related parties or parties of record. It's a preference. We name it people just because it's easy for us to remember. And we've probably popped this in if we've dealt with some of your contact management in the past. Well, STI, I think, has gotten on the bandwagon. And so now they have what they call the How Related tab. And we don't have it showing on our screen, but it is a simplified version of what Paul and I have developed. So it just has a contact lookup field and a how related and a comments box. And for a lot of our clients, that's good enough. You can go over and you can just start adding contacts from that how related tab. So it really makes it easy. It is in the software when you get it. So when you open PracticeMaster, you can see it. Now, you might not be seeing it on the screen, and that you might just have to activate the checkbox that says Show me the common client related tabs, and then that will show up. And we'll be glad to help you with that too. But that is something that is in the software automatically now. Now, if you do want the more
extensive... So you say that's something that we developed that they stole from us? So should I be contacting my brother, the patent attorney?
I'm not going to go there,
file some
but
sort of a lawsuit.
I do know that we have been using it a lot longer than it's been in the software. But it is there, and I highly recommend that you go out and you look at it and start utilizing it. It is very good. Now, if you do want the more extensive version that we've developed, and I'm going to go there. It's better. Our version is better, and it has more things included. And if you want that, Paul and I would be glad to, or actually I will, because Paul will refer it to me anyway. I will be glad to sign on, and I'd be glad to pop that in for you. It doesn't take very long, and it is a good feature to have. So, and lastly, for me, I have the end of the year. Normally, if you've been following our virtual user group meetings, you know that Paul and I, usually in November, put together a virtual user group meeting just dedicated to end of the year, how to close your year, how to archive your client in GL, and all those things, and what reports to run. And we've probably done that same virtual user group meeting for the last 5 years.
472 times. We've done it 472 times.
A lot. So we aren't going to do it again this year. We decided to kind of put this together a little differently. But we're going to refer you to last year's virtual user group meeting, which was in November of 2012. And nothing so far has changed in the version 16 or prior. So you can follow along on that bug and rewatch it. And it will give you all the information that I would normally just repeat again here. And if you have any questions, obviously we'd be glad to log on. That's usually my first couple weeks in January is helping people do this. So call me, get on the schedule so that I can help you end and close your year. Just one thing to just remember, do not advance your year until you've done these procedures. That is very critical. So other than that, I would watch the last year's virtual user group meeting, catch up on how to do it. If anything changes, which in version 17 it will, we will do a new virtual user group meeting on how to end your year next year. So that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Paul, and he's going to talk about some other things that were new or exciting in 2013.
Well, new, maybe not exciting. I'm going to start by finishing this off by telling you that if you simply go to attorneycomputersystems.com, that's our website, you'll know you're there when you see me, and click on tabs 3 virtual user group meetings. You may have to expand that. I think it, well, maybe you don't. I guess it stays expanded now that we changed that. Click on tabs 3 virtual user group meetings and simply scroll down and look for November of 2012. Oh gosh, I went way far. You get the idea. You're looking for November of 2012. Click on that link and you'll be watching that webinar or that virtual user group meeting all about closing your year. Now, that brings me to one of my topics. We have, in the past year, really streamlined the video content that we're putting out there. And so we want people to know about this. And we have on our website 3 different virtual user group meetings, one for tabs, one for PracticeMaster, one for World Docs. Of course, these meetings occur every year, or every month at the appointed time, and you are attending one of them now live. So these pages have the links to register for the next one, but they also have the recordings of the previous ones. So if you go to one of those virtual user group meeting pages and then scroll down, you will find recordings of everything. We also have webinars that we give once a month. Last Friday actually, it was on what's new in version 17, managing your email and billing for it through both World Docs and PracticeMaster, Platinum and Platinum SQL Explained. These are all topics that we cover in our monthly webinars. Mary Jo has a series that we call e-bites. They're kind of very short snippets of information on very specific topics. We will say, pick one neat thing that you can do and then talk about it for 3 or 4 minutes in this e-bite to just give you a really quick thing that you can learn, and if it's something that you didn't know about, in under 5 minutes you're learning something new and more exciting than I am. We also have something called the Paul and Mary Jo Show. My son Spencer says, "Really, Dad? The Paul and Mary Jo Show?" Yes, we like to call it the Paul and Mary Jo Show, mainly because it rhymes, but also because we think we're Regis and Kathy Lee. Is that the right person, Regis and Kathy Lee, or am I dating myself, Mary Jo? Is that the current woman? Or didn't Regis
No, it's not Regis and Kathy Lee. It's and it's not even Regis anymore. It's just Kelly, and I don't even know if she's got somebody. And it's I don't know.
You'll never get rid of me, will you, Mary Jo?
I don't think so. I think we'll keep you. You're just so
and
entertaining.
We'll never get rid of you either. It'll always be the Paul and Mary Jo Show. Now these are kind of the same sort of concept. Pick a topic, but we go into great detail here. Sometimes it's a broader topic. Usually it is. We start in a studio talking amongst ourselves about how wonderful whatever it is that we're going to show you is, and giving you a kind of a teaser. And then one or the other of us will go to a computer and take you through the paces. So these are a little bit longer. They're anywhere from, some are only 10 minutes long, but others are 25 minutes long, and go into great detail about all sorts of different topics in tabs and PracticeMaster. So we've got all this neat video content. A kind of a peek ahead to, I suppose, next year's what happened in 2014 virtual user group meeting. Mary Jo is just undertaking a huge project to bring everything there is to know about the software under one roof. For instance, World Docs has these wonderful videos that they've produced, and the people at STI have also put together videos and have these incredibly detailed, very intricately designed guides to very specific functions. And so we're going to make this website the one-stop place to go for all the information that you could possibly want to know about Tabs 3, PracticeMaster, and of course WorldDocs. So right now we've got our video content. As we get into 2014, we're going to expand that to include other people's video content, the WorldDocs and Tabs 3 PracticeMaster videos that are on their site, the documentation, the quick guides, all the different things that are available to help you make the most of the software. So that's kind of a good segue into the topic of the people that have changed here, because we are your conduit, if you will, to STI. So the people that work here and that you come in contact with every day as you utilize our services to help you utilize their software, that's important to you as well. And one of the people that left us last year was Brandon. Brandon was our original video producer. He was a high school student at the time, and he brought us from nothing to incredible discipline and incredible production values as far as the videos that we produce. He went down to Florida to attend video production school. He's going to a school in Florida called Full Sail, and excuse me, I'm trying to get this noise out of here. And so he is gone, and he has been replaced by Brad, who comes to us from Washtenaw Community College and is our new video production coordinator. Patty has joined us as a client services coordinator, and she assists me in dealing with your updates and your orders and helping you to get updated, to get your new software, maybe to add a module. I'm sorry, this is usually something that goes away when I jiggle. That was a mental image that we probably don't need. Patty is our new client services coordinator, and has been with us about 5 or 6 months. Leanne has stepped up and taken a very active role in the, we call her our logic person. She now works very heavily in workflows, report development, document assembly, anything that involves logic. She does a lot of document coding. She does a good deal of our report work and a lot of workflows and filter development, anything that involves the logic that surrounds getting your data organized a certain way. And who am I leaving out, Mary Jo? Brad? Brandon?
I don't think you're leaving anybody out.
Okay,
That's
good.
everybody.
Good. I got a little confused there, having a senior moment. Okay. Now that's that. Discontinued features. There are certain things that are going away. One of them is going away at the end of the year, whether version 17 is released by then or not. We'll talk more about that in a second. It's version 14 support. 14 is being sunsetted. That means that as of the end of the year, 14, if you're on 14, you will no longer be able to get support from software technology. Now, you can still use the software. It'll still work. But if you have a problem and you call them, you'll need to pay for support. And if you need to get updated, you'll need to send them your data to convert. They will no longer provide the conversion routines in any software that they ship going forward after January 1st. So no more support for version 14 and no more being able to convert your data as you come up from 14 to something else after January 1st. Now they do that because they can't possibly train new incoming people on every version of the software that they've ever had. So as they release new versions, at some point they have to drop off certain old versions from being supported actively. Version 14 has been out for about anywhere from 5, 6 years, maybe a little bit longer. I'm trying to remember, but again, as you just realize, I have senior moments and I am getting old. But somewhere around there, I think it's 5 or 6 years. That's a long time for a software company to provide support for a single product. Time matters, time slips. Other vendors tend to sunset their products a little bit earlier than 6 years. So I think it's a good amount of time to allow, but at some point you have to kind of say goodbye and sunset the product and have people move up into a more current version. So if you have version 14, very seriously consider getting to the current version before the end of the year. Now, a lot of people are on version 14, but they have the disks for 16 and 15, and they just have never installed them. So this is the time to think about getting up to the current version, whether you have it or not, whether you have to get it or whether you've been getting those disks in the mail every time they release a new major release and you've just been putting in a drawer hoping that someday you'll have time to update. This is the time to update. Discontinued features with version 17, the PracticeMaster briefcase will go away. That is really kind of a throwback to an era when we didn't have the internet to connect us to our desktop computers at work from home, or even to a time when we didn't have all of our computers hooked together within the office. The briefcase is a way to take a matter from the main PracticeMaster system and move it to a laptop computer or some other computer so that you can work on it outside of the scope of your network. So you can take that laptop computer home, work on the matter, make notes, change a few things, and then bring it back and kind of merge what you did with that matter with the rest of the main PracticeMaster system. There are a handful of people out there that still use it. We actually have 2 clients that still use it. One's in Puerto Rico, where the internet connections are less reliable and slower. And so rather than using the internet to connect to his computer at work, he actually does use the briefcase to take stuff home for the reason it was originally designed. So if you have a reason to be using the briefcase and you want to keep using the briefcase, do not upgrade to version 17 because it will no longer be supported. They're also taking away the integration between QuickBooks and PracticeMaster. Now, we don't understand, we have not been able to find a reason why anybody would ever want to integrate PracticeMaster to QuickBooks. It's tabs that you would integrate to QuickBooks, and that is not going away. That's going to be available in the same format that it was all along, and it is still there. It's going to still be there. It's the PracticeMaster QuickBooks integration. Again, I don't know why anybody would integrate PracticeMaster with QuickBooks, but come version 17, they won't, because that feature is going away. Also, some of the cost collection software is changing. Well, it's being discontinued because now everything can be imported with TB device, which is STI's latest and greatest cost import or device interface software. It basically takes all the other software and wraps it into one package, if you will. So if you're using one of the older DOS interfaces or one of the older regular Windows programs that isn't TB device to integrate your phone charges or your copy charges or your scan or print charges, you need to get to TB device or you won't be getting support for the older product. And so we've talked now about discontinued things. Let's talk about the future. Mary Jo kind of hinted that beta support had gone away. I will tell you now that up until a couple days ago, if you said, hey, I want version 17, I would have said, hey, well, beta's pretty much done, and so it's, even if you don't like the beta test, you can get on the beta now and get it. You can't do that anymore. They have closed the beta. What that means is that they are in that transitional phase between the beta period and actually releasing it to new sales. Now, we're anticipating that they might do that this week. They might do it next week. We're thinking they're going to do it before the end of the year, but we don't really know. All we know is that they are now in a state where they are getting ready to bring out version 17. STI releases a new product. When they get done with beta, they release the new product to new sales for a couple of weeks to kind of iron out any problems that they may not have found in the beta testing. And to give their customers a kind of a buffer zone between the actual release and when they get it. And so sometime after the first of the year, don't know when, hopefully it'll be relatively soon, you will be notified that version 17 is ready for you to download. It will be a download only. There will be no CD. So you'll be able to just get the link that you'll get in the email from STI, click on it, download the software, install it, and you'll be on version 17. It's a very quick update. Takes about, I don't think I've seen it take longer than an hour, and really the only variable there is the amount of data you have that needs to be converted. There is a conversion that runs automatically after the update is completed and downloaded and completed. The last step is to convert the data. So to summarize, we hope that version 17 will be released to new sales before the end of the year. That's why we're talking about it now, because we're talking about what's happening in STI's world in 2013. We can't guarantee that. We don't really know that's going to happen for sure, but we're reasonably confident that it will. After the first of the year, sometime you will be receiving an email that says, hey, it's time for you to get it. Now, if you have an immediate need to get it, as soon as it's released to new sales, if you will let us know, we'll try and pull a few strings and get you the link to download it early. But you should be seeing that email from STI in a couple months or a couple weeks after the first of the year, or should I say after it's released. And we're hoping it'll be released before the end of the year. Another thing that the people at STI have done in 2013 is they have extended, and we think maybe indefinitely, but we're not sure of that either, their Net 30 Platinum Trial program. Platinum is their next level of software, the highest level of software. There's Platinum and Platinum SQL. And these packages offer enhanced functionality. The reports are extremely fast. The software, depending on your hardware configuration, can be faster as well, especially with the SQL version. The filters run faster. The backups can be run while people are in the software. That's a huge one for a lot of people. There are certain reports in Platinum, like a working timekeeper accounts receivable report that's not available in the multi-user version but is available in Platinum. So people say, oh, we think we'd like those features, but we don't really know. Can we try it? And so what STI does is they let you try it. They send you a bill, or we send you a bill, and you've got 30 days from the time that they ship your Platinum update to you to play with it, try it, install it, and see that it does all the things that you want it to do, and then you simply pay the bill, and it's yours. We have not had this happen, but if you decide you don't want it, you simply tear up the bill, we connect, and we take you back to the multi-user version that you were on all along, and everybody goes their merry way. So that offer has been extended in 2013, and it was extended earlier in the year, I think towards the beginning of the year, and we have not seen it stop yet. So we think this might have been extended indefinitely. Can't say for sure, but that's what we're hoping for. And I think, am I done, Mary Jo? I think I've crossed everything off my list. So with that, I will ask Leanne, do we have any questions?
There are no questions, Paul.
Awesome. And I will then say, now this is not quite the first time I've said this year, but it's close to it. I will say, we will see you next year. In 2014, in January, we have some topics that I went through that list way again, Mary Jo. I did this to myself just moments ago when we had our other virtual user group meeting. But I think I can remember that we are talking about, in the PracticeMaster virtual user group meeting in January 2014, we are talking about filters. That's going to be Mary Jo's topic. They're a way to zero in on specific data. All the active matters for Bob, or all the clients that are in a certain county, or all the clients that have cases in a certain city, or whatever it may be. And then I'm going to talk about Quick Views, which is a version 17 feature that kind of takes filters and column layouts and sorts and pulls them all together so that you just click a button and you're looking at exactly what you want to in exactly the order and exactly the layout that you want without having to understand how it all happens. It just kind of shows some tabs at the top and bottom of your list and lets you go to exactly the data that you want specifically. And just in case you're curious, in the tabs virtual user group meeting, I know that I'm talking about split fee billing, I believe. And Mary Jo, do you remember what that other topic was?
I think I'm talking about journal entry window.
That's right, the new General Ledger journal entry window that we have issued a challenge on. We are challenging our customers to find a way to make an out of balance, or to take an existing journal entry and make it out of balance. If you can find a way to make something out of balance, we're going to do something very special. We don't know what yet, because we don't think it's going to happen. We've pounded on this as much as we can, and we have not been able to make a journal entry go out of balance. So we're going to take that and show it to you in the next Tabs 3 virtual user group meeting. So everybody have a good afternoon, a good holiday, a good rest of the year, and we will see you next year. Thanks much. Bye-bye.